been a little while, but it's good to have another conversation with MIAA Commissioner Mike Racy. Sir, thank you for your time. And it's been a minute, but we're gearing back up for more championships now after we just finished up the winter months pretty much.
Yeah, it seems like we were just together at Municipal Auditorium, Chris, watching some MIAA basketball. And, you know, here we are on the doorstep of our spring championships. So time is flying, but another successful year for the MIAA, and we're anxious to see what happens this spring.
You talk about looking at the spring, but we got to go back and talk about some of the winter sports too, or some NCAA national championships, wrestling, men's indoor track. It was quite the run for MIAA teams, but also individuals too. There's national champions all over the place.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Last year, the University of Nebraska Kearney took home a wrestling national title, and we kept it in the conference. We just, sent it south, where University of Central Oklahoma won another NCAA national championship in wrestling. And, both of those programs are just, loaded with legacy and success, and really proud how all MIAA wrestlers did at the national tournament in Iowa. But pretty cool to add Central Oklahoma wrestling to the list of NCAA MIAA championships. That's number 53 for us, with the UCO championship, and then Pitt State winning on the men's side in indoor track. And really both of those programs, Pitt State and men's track, and UCO and wrestling, just dominating performances. When you look at the scoring gap between where they were and the second place teams, just tells you how loaded the MIAA was this year in both of those sports.
I know we've talked about it before, but I think on a 10,000-foot look at the 1,000 feet look at the conference, a lot of people think football across the country, MIAA football, MIAA men's basketball, women's basketball. But like you just mentioned, it's deep across all sports, MIAA. It's not just a 2 or 3 sport conference. And now some years ebb and flow, right? Like there's some years things are better than others. But as a whole, MIAA is usually right up there competing in every sport and for national championships, or at least making a push for one.
Yeah, and the thing we've talked about before that I love is that it's not just one school. We don't just have one giant in the MIAA that wins everything. It's spread around. I think since I've been commissioner, the conference we have 18 national titles in 11 different sports by 8 different schools, 8 different conference members winning a NCAA national championship. And, when I look at track and I look at wrestling, a lot of it is the investment that our schools are making in facilities, Chris. A lot of people drive by the indoor facility in Maryville, or, the indoor facility in Pittsburgh. And they think, wow, what great assets for the football program. Well, no, those are actually big indoor facilities that our track and field student athletes get to compete in, and a lot of other student athletes, including football, get to use. But we're great in track because our schools are putting money into those programs and facilities. Washburn has a state-of-the-art indoor track, bank track.
Yep.
One of the few in the Midwest. And then on the wrestling side, Nebraska Kearney, a brand new wrestling room, Central Oklahoma, a brand new state-of-the-art wrestling room, one of the nicest in the state of Oklahoma, and that includes Oklahoma State and OU. Central Missouri's just built a new wrestling room. So competitive schools invest money to be competitive, and it's sure nice being a commissioner of a conference that invests money the way it does in Division II athletics.
We'll talk a little bit more about spring championships coming up here, the MIAA championships, but we got to talk about the football a little bit here. Division II Football Alliance first meeting. Probably a lot of people wondering what goes into that. What is the alliance designed to do? And you're the man to kind of answer that right now.
Well, we had our first meeting yesterday, and it was an organizational meeting, an information meeting. We had 6 conferences that are part of the alliance that participated in yesterday's meeting. We had in the meeting, we have 5 presidents. We had 5 athletic directors. We had 6 conference commissioners. We had Coach Mel Churchma from the NCAA Division II Coaches Connection was with the group. And, we really spent time talking about some of the issues that are highlighted in that white paper that the MIAA and the GLIAC worked on together and got endorsed by certainly the MIAA presidents and presidential groups of these other conferences that are part of the alliance. That would include the Gulf South Conference, the Lone Star Conference, the Northern Sun Conference, the Great American Conference. I mentioned the GLIAC, obviously the MIAA. And, I think it's a group of schools that, realize that football is a very important sport on all of our conference schools, campuses, and the investment that's made, the opportunity for revenue that exists from football, and then obviously the way that football is used as a gathering point each week for alumni and community to come together. There's really nothing like football at the D1 level or the Division II level, and our schools are, concerned that maybe we may not be may not be doing the best we can in what we're doing in the regular season as far as scheduling and how we coordinate growth and development of officials and some of the rules and legislation that we have that govern regular season football, and then obviously the way that we select teams and the way we bracket, we can do better. So yesterday was an organizational meeting. I was really impressed by the engagement, especially among our presidents, in talking about some of these issues. And, while the group does not have legislative authority, it's not a group that can make decisions and changes necessarily. There are a lot of influencers on this group, former chair of the Management Council, the current chair of the Division II Commissioners Association, current Management Council members, former members of the football committee, people that others will listen to. And certainly a lot gets done when conferences come together and sponsor legislation and go to the NCAA convention committed to try to get things passed. And that, that's really what this initiative's about, is how do we, not only come up with solutions, but also the resources that are going to be necessary to make those solutions become a reality, and then the support we're going to have to generate in the governance structure and then throughout the Division II membership, that these changes are good for the future of Division II. So, I'm optimistic. I thought we had a great meeting, and we've agreed to meet again a couple of times this summer, probably get together in person next year at the NCAA convention. And, we'll continue to hopefully make progress on improving Division II football.
Is there, I guess you talk about trying to find solutions to kind of evaluate things. Is there like a glaring point of emphasis that you guys feel like there's a need for, or is it just kind of evaluating everything and then figure out what you guys can present as the alliance's thoughts on things too?
Yeah, I think it's a long list, Chris, I shouldn't, I hope I don't come across as somebody that, everything that we're doing is wrong and, needs to be thrown out. Heck, some of the stuff we're doing, I helped create and develop when I was at the NCAA. And I think all that people are saying is that, with time, comes the need to evaluate, and with time, sometimes creates opportunity for change. And so, there's a lot of things that are going to get looked at, and some things can be fixed through legislative proposals. Some things can get fixed by, reprioritizing the Division II budget and where resources are being used. And, some things will require some political maneuvering and some advocacy and some white papers and some ways that we can persuade people on committees that, it's time to make some changes. We can do things better. I think that's the underlying message and the theme of yesterday's meeting was, Division II is great. We love Division II. We want to see it be successful. But as it relates to regular season football in NCAA Division II football playoffs and championship, we think we can do it better. And this is a group really unlike anything in the NCAA, where commissioners, ADs, and presidents can be around the table and talk about a particular sport. I think there's real opportunity that this group can make some positive changes.
From one meeting to another, we'll talk about the MIAA's meeting with NCAA President Charlie Baker coming up. Pretty good opportunity, I think, for the MIAA. A new NCAA president coming in, and things may look different in the future for the NCAA. We've talked about that for almost 2 years now. That Division I things are shifting constantly. I guess what goes into this meeting, and what does the MIAA hope to talk about with the new NCAA president?
Yeah, Chris, this is the start of a new president's term, and you always are anxious to kind of figure out, what's on his agenda, what are his impressions about the three divisions. And so far, it looks like somebody that is interested in Division II and understands that while the top 100 programs or so get a lot of attention in Division I, that, the association is made up of 1,100 schools. And, most of those schools look more like Washburn than they do the University of Kansas. And so he is committed that he's going to visit virtually with every NCAA Division I, Division II, and Division III conference in the next 100 days. And we have an opportunity on May 9th that we'll have our presidents and athletic directors and the MIAA office on a virtual meeting with the new NCAA president. And he wants to learn about our conference, and he wants to hear from our presidents, the ADs, and the commissioner about where can we do things better. And, so related to what we were just talking about, I'm certainly going to use it as an opportunity to, to let the new president know that I feel like at least the MIAA believes that there's some inequity in the way that we select championship teams and the way that we bracket championship fields. We can do better, and that the way that we're funding Division II championships is inadequate. Only 57% of the Division II budget is going towards championships right now. That's unacceptable. We need to do better than that. And so we'll talk about those things with him. We'll obviously highlight the 110 plus year history of the MIAA and all the success our schools have had on and off the court. I think he'll be interested to know the deep history. Many of our institutions with history dating back to the 1860s, 1870s, 1880s. And, we'll highlight all those things, but it's just a great opportunity. And I think it says a lot about our new NCAA president that wants to reach out and have these conversations with everyone in the membership, not just the Division I membership.
We'll get here on a couple more things here. MIAA tennis and golf championships coming up right around the corner. I know we just talked about the winter in national championships. We were talking about MIAA basketball not too long ago, but here we are, MIAA tennis and golf championships getting ready to get started too.
Yeah, it starts next week. We'll be at a couple of different venues for tennis and golf. We'll be in Edmond, Oklahoma, at the beautiful Edmond Center Court, state-of-the-art tennis facility, just a couple of years old. We've been fortunate to be hosting our MIAA championship there for a couple of years. As most of the folks know that are listening and watching this, the MIAA and the Great American Conference share the men's tennis championship. We'll have 3 MIAA schools and 3 schools from the Great American Conference that will be competing for our shared, partnered men's tennis championship that will determine the automatic qualifier to the NCAA championship. And then we'll do the same thing for women's tennis next weekend at the Edmond Center Court, where we'll have 6 MIAA schools competing for the women's tennis championship. We've got Northwest Missouri State going into both the men's and the women's championships, ranked in the top 10 in the country and number 1 in the region. So, we're looking for good things, beyond our MIAA championships next week in tennis. In golf, next week, the men's golf championship gets started April 16th at Silo Ridge Golf Course. That's in Bolivar. And then the following week, the women will be at Eagle Creek Golf Club in Joplin, Missouri. And, we always keep our fingers crossed, Chris, with spring sports for good weather.
Yeah.
There's nothing like sitting in the clubhouse and watching a day of rain that turns a commissioner's stomach.
Yeah.
So we're hopeful that we've got some good weather in Edmond and Bolivar and Joplin next week or next 2 weeks, and we get these 4 championships in tennis and golf completed successfully.
Last thing we'll get to today is just about 7 weeks out or so. MIAA Hall of Fame class going in June 6th, the celebration in Kansas City. Quite a few historic, legendary names on that list again this year, like every Hall of Fame class should be.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah. We really cool to think about our Hall of Fame and, people in it like Dr. James Naismith and Fogg Allen, and there's a great history in the MIAA, and we're adding 11 individuals and 2 teams to that roster on June 6th. Our Hall of Fame event's down at the Music Hall, and it's open to the public if folks want to come down and check it out. But we've got the highlight of the class this year for me personally is my predecessor, Dr. Bob Borichter, former Northwest Missouri State athletic director and former MIAA commissioner. Dr. Bob, he's a legend, has done it all in the conference and also nationally. There's 6 schools that are represented by our Hall of Fame class. Chris, we have 1 going in from Northwest, 2 from Pitt State, 2 from Central Missouri, 1 from Central Oklahoma, 2 from Emporia State, and 2 from Missouri Southern. We have a football official going in. We have 1 administrator, 1 coach, baseball, softball athletes, football and soccer, women's basketball, volleyball, and track. And then the 2 teams, the 2019 Northwest Missouri State men's basketball in national championship team, and then the 2019 Lincoln women's track and field championship team will both be going into the Hall of Fame as well. But always a special night. Blair Kirchhoff from the Kansas City Star will once again be our MC. And the Music Hall is just a beautiful venue, great setting for us to really say thanks to these great people for what they did for their schools and in the MIAA, and to welcome them to the Hall of Fame.
MIAA Commissioner Mike Racy, thank you always for your time, and we're going to get busy again here in the next 5-6 weeks or so.
You bet. Good to see you, Chris. Thank you.
Good to see you.